Hello everyone, welcome back to Touch the Fire Twice. I'm Joshua and I'm here today to do a Bath & Body Works Bakery Collection candle haul and review. But first, if you are new to Touch the Fire Twice, welcome. My mission here is to share my love and passion for fine home fragrance as an enthusiast, an educator, a reviewer, to inspire you to increase your own fragrance knowledge and understanding, ultimately enhancing the scent memories that you create. If you want to learn more about what I do, why I do it, how I do it, you can check out my website at TouchTheFireTwice.com and follow me over on Instagram, also at TouchTheFireTwice. But for now, let's dig into this collective haul and review. So as you may know, if you're a subscriber or a regular viewer, or if not, it's still an inform for you. I haven't been around for a bit here, and I've still been purchasing candles during my sort of hiatus from the Touch the Fire Twice channel. And so I've got some Bath & Body Works candles and other brands, frankly, that I want to still come back and give you my haul review, some in-depth sniff comparison reviews, the traditional way I do it, etc. And some of these candles are still available for purchase. Others maybe are no longer at Bath & Body Works, but I figured it was still worth sharing my haul, give you an idea of what I've been purchasing, sniffing, burning, and my opinion on them. So I've got this video here with 5 bakery candles from Bath & Body Works. Then I also will have a video coming up on the Bath & Body Works Neutral collection, their single wick, single note candles, and also the late winter limited edition drop of the pink gumball candle and root beer float candle. But for now, let's dig into this haul and review on bakery collection. So I'll start with, let's see here, I guess the fragrances that are not new, then I'll go into the 2 new fragrances and kind of start with the oldest here. So start actually with the classic Lavender Marshmallow. So this was purchased, I want to say, was this Candle Day, I believe, actually, that this came out, or semi-annual sale? I think it was Candle Day. This was poured on the 291st day of 2023. So that was October 18th of 2023. So yes, I believe this was from Candle Day. Of course, we know Lavender Marshmallow. It was pink lavender macaron at one point. It comes back, I'd say most years at this point, though not always. And so whenever it does come back, I always grab 1 or 2 of them, even if it's not a time when I would typically burn it, because it is more of a spring, transitional for me, though you could burn it year round. So I actually had 2 of these. I've almost burned through 1 of them, but this is just your classic. Notes of fluffy marshmallow, touch of lavender, and fresh vanilla bean. It always gets a bit of a murky burn, but it gets a solid burn, really great throw. It's such a soft, truly gourmand lavender. It doesn't really have any astringency to it. The marshmallow in there really is not a cloying artificial sweetness like you can get from some marshmallows. It's just soft, cloud-like comfort. Yes, vanilla, not really a natural vanilla bean though, and not intense on the vanilla. I've reviewed this before. In fact, you can watch this video from way back when where I was doing a comparison of Lavender Marshmallow and pink lavender macaron and similar fragrances. But it's just such a great go-to. A little bit cheap on the labels, but that often happens with, Candle Day collections. But love that one. I wanted to at least throw that in the haul. Then, of course, we have this now annual returning favorite, Sweet Carrot Cake. This one is also really, really great. I don't always lean too deep into the, I'd say, true to life bakery gourmands, certainly gourmands in general, but sometimes the pumpkin pecan waffles, French toast, pancake, muffin side of things is a little too literal for me, or it tries to be literal but comes off artificial, and that rarely, tracks for me, though sometimes, certainly there are exceptions, and there's no judgment if people love it. Notes on Sweet Carrot Cake are sweet cream cheese frosting, fluffy carrot cake, and cinnamon spice. Let's start a little bit with this label, this lid, and the pricing on this. So of course, $32.95 simply because it has a decorative lid. I mean, does anyone really care that much about the lids? I would rather pay $24.95 for the same fragrance. A lid is certainly not worth $8. And I mean, it makes you feel like you need to save this to use on a future candle, but I mean, it's a spring rabbit. So I mean, I don't know that I would ever actually reuse it on another candle, but because it is pricey and it is heftier, it feels wasteful to throw it out. A little bit strange. The one thing I will say, for any time there are the $32.95 candles, I'm not gonna purchase them when there's a 10 off sale. It's only when there's a true all-in price, a $12.95 or $13.95 sale. I haven't received coupons from Bath & Body Works for probably 6 months or more, which is kind of strange because I don't purchase, as much as I have in the past. And typically, if you purchase less frequently, they'll give you more or better coupons. I don't know if maybe I need to do a mail order to kind of get back on the mailing list or something. Not sure, but I haven't had coupons even in my app for months and months, except that random 10 off 30 that they offered not too long ago. But Sweet Carrot Cake, the other thing I'll say about this, I don't mind the dark blue. Sometimes it gets very cutesy and pink and Eastery when it comes to this. This could lean to a fall fragrance or sort of just year-round bakery, I think. But I kind of like the blue. What I don't like, and what really cheapens it, and where Bath & Body Works just goes so close to great sometimes, and then they do some little thing that kind of just messes it up. For me, that is, so the matte jar, this label, which is fine, I don't feel particularly strongly good or bad about it. So it has this egg shape and these sort of floral gold leaf embellishments around it, but it is one square sticker, which is fine. You know, it would be, I'm sure, more difficult for them to produce a sticker that was, you know, a cutout here. Would be probably messy and not look right. Though they could take it a little bit tighter around here, at least in the same oval shape, or don't do a matte jar, because it's so obvious in any light, not sunlight or otherwise, that there's just a big square sticker on there, because then the jar that is, granted this is see-through, the jar is shiny here because of the sticker. So it's just it cheapens the look, and it's just a poor design decision where it's kind of like, what were y'all thinking? Like, that's just, ultimately doesn't matter. No, you can put it this way, it doesn't matter. But, you know, like, if you're gonna do it right, whatever. Sniffing this, of course, this is very sweet, not quite cloying. It's funny, like, it's certainly a mild spice cake. There's that cream cheese frosting aspect to it, which I'm not usually, actually don't prefer or like cream cheese frosting to actually eat on a baked good. But there's really not sort of any, you know, walnut or carrot. No, you don't really smell or taste carrots in the carrot cake. It's more just the moisture that it adds, and then the fact that it's a spring cake. But this is a super authentic when it comes to that snack cake baked good scent, with a bit of spices, not heavy. It doesn't lean deep into cloves or nutmeg or warming spices or ginger. It really is just a little bit of, you know, maybe a tiny bit of ginger. And cinnamon, yes, I suppose, but it's not an obvious cinnamon candle. Certainly not red hot cinnamon, or even really a soft Ceylon cinnamon. So it's generic in a sense where they frankly could name this many different things, but I don't care. It smells really good. When you want like a morning candle with your coffee, this is a great go-to in the springtime for me. So I did purchase 2 of these. I already almost burned through one of them. Then we go to the 3 candles from the simple, straightforward, you know, mid-spring bakery collection. They've had so many great bakery collections over the year, and the branding and the marketing and the aesthetic is usually quite nice, very cohesive, and sometimes with white enamel lids that are scalloped or really beautiful designs. These were kind of thrown together as sort of straightforward. They're the $24.95 price point, which is nice, but they're a little bit cheap looking, kind of, though it's not a bad design because it still has, you know, these sort of traditional bakery aesthetic that they go for, but it just seems a little bit more like an imitator could have made these versus an up-leveled Bath & Body Works 3-wick collection. It could have been a primary collection for bakery. Certainly, Bonnie of Queen of the Girl Geeks would be promoting bakery if they did a really large bakery collection that was front and center in marketing for a while, where this was there, but it was kind of not a throwaway collection, but it was just one of the collections out there. It wasn't a primary focus. So first one on here, a new fragrance altogether, Cherry Blossom Pound Cake. Notes of cherry blossom, whipped pound cake, and vanilla frosting. What is interesting is, although there are many cherry blossom fragrances, including Bath & Body Works' classic Japanese cherry blossom fragrance from, you know, the early 90s, truly in nature, cherry blossoms have little to no detectable fragrance. So it really is more of a fantasy fragrance. There's perhaps a bit of a nectar sweet floral, but you can be in an entire field or grove of cherry blossoms, you know, Sakura, traditional Yoshino cherry trees, cherry blossoms, and there's not gonna be much of any fragrance. So when they put it into their candles, okay, it's a fantasy for the most part. So notes in this, cherry blossom, fine. Whipped pound cake, all right, so if it's whipped, does that mean, we know the notes don't really, you know, the adjectives count for little to nothing, but they want to evoke that scent, mood, memory, space, place, time, right? So whipped pound cake, I'm assuming that could mean the batter or just a very light, fluffy pound cake, almost leaning maybe to angel food cake, and then vanilla frosting. Getting my nose on it. I purchased this because it was new and interesting and I thought I might like it. I have not burned it yet. I don't know if I will. I don't necessarily want to return it, but I also don't really need it in my collection, so I'm not sure, but there's a sweetness to it, not really a pound cake. There's nothing really buttery or vanilla about this to me. It feels more like a gourmand-esque body care fragrance, because that supposed cherry blossom leans quite perfumey floral. Not so much like when you get, say, the pink petal tea cake where there's rose in kind of a petit four and there's just that little bit of hint of rose petal truly in a gourmand edible concoction. This there's a base generic vanilla sweetness and then a quite powdery, mature almost, perfumey floral. Maybe it comes out differently when it's burning. I kind of doubt it. They could have done something really nice with this and even just called it, I mean, either instead of cherry blossom, either cherry pound cake and made it more authentic, or I don't know, some combination of cherries or almond blossom, since they're somewhat interchangeable in fine fragrance. Could have been great. It's kind of off-putting. It smells really artificial for whatever it is. Yeah, definitely an impulse purchase just because it was new and interesting. Then we go to, let's jump over quickly to a returning favorite for many folks, Paris Cafe. This one has been around for a while. I purchased it because I wanted sort of a coffee fragrance, since they don't bring out the freshly brewed coffee typically except during fall, whereas I would burn that not quite year round, but certainly in the mornings, if I'm making my coffee, I do like something that is a little bit sweeter or lighter or sometimes gourmand or coffee-like when I first wake up. And so Paris Cafe, of course, notes of rich roasted coffee, sugared brioche, and vanilla creme. Now, I've not always been a big fan of Paris Cafe, and I'm still not a big fan of it. It is fairly authentic. The rich roasted coffee is nearly a burnt coffee, like deep roasted coffee bean. Not so much, to me, it really is a Paris Cafe where it's not a freshly brewed cup of coffee or even shot of espresso. It is more so you have heaps and heaps and heaps of barrels or bags or what have you of deeply roasted coffee and espresso beans. And that sugared brioche is nearly burnt to me. So brioche is that very stretchy, rich, egg-heavy French bread, which is great. It's, on its own, sandwiches, it leans very well into truly sweet gourmand things like French toast. It's almost as if they put a bit of a sugar butter on it and kind of set it through a broiler, and it got a bit of that caramelized char on there and a little burnt, because that really comes across for me in here, that it's kind of a burnt brioche. And vanilla creme, sure, there's a vanilla to this. Not overly sweet, not super milky, but it's there. And this is one of those candles that just sticks around. You burn this and you go out and then you come back after having blown it out before you leave your home, and it stays in the air, which is good and bad. It's not something I burn every day, but it is when you want that really robust cafe versus, a mug of coffee or a baked good, and it's more of the aesthetic of a combination of what's around there. It's solid for what it is. And then finally we go to what I think is probably the big hit of the collection, and that is Main Street Bakery. Interesting that this is clearly a sort of either banana muffin or banana pudding or banana cupcake, some sort of banana focused scent, and they just had the generic Main Street Bakery name to it. A little bit surprising because it does not hit the same way that Paris Cafe is all the scents of a cafe. This is not necessarily all the scents of a bakery, but not either way, it doesn't really matter. Notes are fresh banana, vanilla wafers, and cinnamon sugar. Now, there are folks that are huge fans of the banana walnut muffin. There's been, 3 to 5 different banana bakery fragrances over the years of Bath & Body Works. I've never been a big fan of any of them. I want to say 2 years ago, I did purchase the banana walnut muffin when it came out, and I burned through it and it was fine, but for me, it's not hoard worthy. I try not to hoard in general anymore, but it's not something that I ever needed more of or would be excited to see come back, though I know a lot of folks love it. I feel kind of the same way with this. So going into it, I'm thinking it was banana, vanilla wafers, and cinnamon sugar. If it has vanilla wafers, you immediately think something like a banana pudding. So you have bananas and some sort of vanilla pudding or custard mixed with usually whipped cream or sweetened condensed milk, something very sweet and sugary with layers of sort of the traditional vanilla wafers, cookies in them. And that doesn't usually have cinnamon, so interesting to see cinnamon sugar here. But it's just tough because banana pretty much always comes across as that artificial runt banana smell, or incredibly overripe, like almost fermented, dripping with, sugar, overripe, blackened bananas. And that's most what I get from this. However, I will say, think of the banana that you get in like boxed banana, Jell-O brand pudding or whatever brand pudding. That is also an artificial banana. And there certainly is like a pudding note to this. So really this should have been just called Southern Banana Pudding, because I don't really think of this as frosting or cupcakes or tarts or pie. It really seems like pudding, banana pudding. And there is a bit of that dried vanilla, biscuit cookie wafer in there. So that's actually kind of impressive because I haven't smelled that note in their bakery items in the past. I just wish that there was a way to do the banana a little bit more authentically. And I don't really think that I get cinnamon sugar in here. Certainly sugar, yeah, but more of, they should call out vanilla in here, or, you know, custard or whipped something. Whipped vanilla, frankly. Fresh banana, vanilla wafers, and whipped vanilla cream, much more sense than cinnamon sugar. There's no real spice to this to me. So it's well done if you love that sort of fragrance. I know a lot of folks do love this. For me, it could be different burning. I will fully admit, you know, you might come for me in the comments saying you haven't lit it, how can you review it, whatever. This is a, you know, first sniff on this one for me. I just wish the banana was more authentic, but that's really, really hard to do. There's been very, very few that have ever smelled truly authentic. So that is the Main Street Bakery though. I will give this a shot probably at some point, but I've just never, I always go to say, oh, should I burn that? I'm like, no, I don't really want that kind of artificial banana scent right now. And I go to something else like the Lavender Marshmallow, or maybe the Paris Cafe, or lately the Sweet Carrot Cake, because that feels very specific to March, April, spring for me. But we'll see. I'll burn it probably at some point, because I don't think I would return this one. I think I'll burn this at some point, and we'll see what I think. So anyhow, that is my, let's call it in-depth sniff, and primarily pre-burn review and haul of some recent Bath & Body Works bakery candles. Let me know what you think of these. Do you love Cherry Blossom Pound Cake? Do you hate Main Street Bakery? I feel like those would be the opposing views to what I've heard from most folks across the candle community. Let me know what you think, and until next time, take care.